and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. We are a show that loves to talk about everyone in college football, NFL, and everything else. We are continuing our conference preview series. This is, I believe, the fifth conference we are talking about now. This time we're doing the ACC, and we are joined by our guests from Gridiron Uncensored. Brendan and Trevor joined the show today. Guys, introduce yourselves.
You want to go?
Go ahead, Brendan.
Go ahead, Brendan. Being some spotty stuff right now.
Okay. So my name's Trevor. I'm one of the hosts of Gridiron Uncensored. We've been doing it for, this is our third season now. I can't believe it. It's been kind of a crazy ride. But yeah, we got into it. We love college football. We love all sports, really, honestly. But college football speaks to us, and we just enjoy doing it. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Brendan, me and Trev, we've been running it. Blake has been with us, but he's kind of stepped off for the moment. So Trev and I have just been running the show and, knocking out these previews, and it's been a grind. But yeah, this is the end of, I guess this is our second anniversary, per Twitter, so I appreciate them reminding because it all blends together. But no, it's been good, and getting to meet you guys and all the other, college football podcasts and, content creators and stuff that we've met along the way. It's been really cool, man. I've enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, it's definitely been a fun ride. And I think that's been one of my favorite parts about the series is getting to go through every single conference, but also, go and show everyone that may not know about our community of podcasts, like what everyone's skill sets and what everyone has to offer, for sure.
Yeah, it's been really cool, man.
It's been pretty fun, all the different personalities. I mean, speaking more recently, we were able to link up with a couple of people that have been in the college football industry for umpteen amount of years, covering college football. And then we had the pleasure of being joined by one of the senior writers at On3 and Rivals. So, I mean, it's been pretty fun on how we've been growing, and everything's been growing. And it just shows that if you guys do a lot of hard work, it'll show out eventually.
Yeah, 100%. So the ACC is a conference that has been very entertaining, very competitive throughout the years, but it faces a very critical 2025 season, I would say. They need to win some games. Plain and simple. The bowl performance this past year was not good for the conference, and I think it's critical for the future to have a good year. So we'll go ahead and with that lead and kind of jump in here, look at the tiers a little bit. When it comes to this section, there's a lot of different teams here, a wide range of teams. We'll be spending a little bit of time here, but I think you guys kind of hinted at it already. A team that could potentially rise above this year and be towards the top, Pitt. Started 7-0 last year, and then injuries hit, and it all fell apart.
Yeah. I mean, they started 7-0, and basically I was trying to start the trend of hashtag save Narduzzi, and it seemed to work a little bit all last season. But I think Narduzzi bought himself a couple years by just having that good of a start of a season. I think they're going to give him some leeway with this team, and I think that they've got a good thing going right now. I'm just look. Pitt's one of those things where they have to stay healthy. Like there's no way on God's green earth that they're going to be able to pull what they did last season off without him. And it was clear that he was the driving force for the 7-0 start. And I mean, it's nice that they start out with Duquesne and Central Michigan starting out the first two games to kind of get back into it. But then, hey, guess what? Your third game in, you're going to Morgantown. And I don't know about anybody else. I don't know how you feel about them, Justin. But I know that I think me and Brendan are really stoked to see how they do with the coach, the main guy back in Morgantown, and how amped up they're going to be playing ball again at West Virginia with their head coach. I just think that's going to start it. And then you got Louisville, Boston College, which I think is an underdog this season, which they could actually be a problem for some people. They have a pretty favorable schedule. The end of their schedule sucks. I'm just going to say it. The end of the schedule for Pitt sucks.
It is rough. Don't have any injuries, please, guys.
Like, if you guys can't go healthy all the way up until the last 3 weeks of the season, you're done. You're done. Because, I mean, Notre Dame, then you got to go down to Atlanta and play Georgia Tech, and then you come back home, just to play Miami again.
Now, let me paint the positive here. That is, if you're going to play Notre Dame and Miami in a 3-week period, you would at least want them at home in Pittsburgh when the weather is going to be really, really bad.
That's fair. That's fair.
Is a great point.
That's fair.
That. No, I agree, Trev. I look at, I circle 2 sections of it, the West Virginia game to Florida State, and then, of course, the last 3. The middle, after Florida State, Syracuse, NC State, Stanford. I do think NC State's a team that can surprise people. We've talked about it, Justin, on Twitter. Like, everybody's kind of underselling North NC State, and that's usually when they pop and knock somebody off.
That's when they win exactly 9 games.
That could be something to watch, but West Virginia is going to be interesting. But getting them early, I think, before that team really gels, I think is a positive. Louisville, we talked about them. That's going to be a tough team. Florida State, we don't really know yet. There's so much, and that's why they're in this category of wide range of possibilities. They could I don't think they're going to go 2-10 again, but we got to see it. I mean, Castellano's been talking it, so we'll see how that goes. Syracuse, to me, too much overturn on the roster, even though I do like what Fran Brown's doing. It's an interesting schedule for Pitt, but it all depends, again, on them being healthy, because when they are healthy, last year they were rolling. And I really like Holstein. I think that dude can game. So if he's healthy and the crew's rolling, watch out. They're going to be dangerous. People talk a lot of trash about this Pitt team last year. I was like, I don't know, man. They look pretty good from what
they were fun to watch. Those first 7 weeks, they were just fun to watch.
Yeah, they really were. I enjoyed that team a lot. It kind of stunk that the injuries kind of took them out of the race a little bit. But, yeah, I'm excited for Holstein. Desmond Reed is a really good back, too.
Absolutely. I mean, they've got guys. Defensively, they got people that can step up, too. So it's not like just a one hit. It's all on one guy. But, I mean, he is, offensively, your quarterback goes down. It's so hard to replace, and he's a good one. I think – I know Alabama fans were upset to see him leave when he did. So, Pitt, you got a good one. Let's keep him healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess another team that I kind of want to look at here, Duke. Darian Mensah comes in, really good quarterback. The defense, they have dogs all over this defense too. This is already looking like a good defense and kind of one of the more quieter 9-win teams from last year. What do you guys think about the Blue Devils?
I'm a huge fan. When I did their preview,
I forgot about Mensah.
I mean, that's a guy coming over. I mean, that was a big steal. Their over/under is only 6.5, but I mean, they returned 59% production. Last year, offensively, they did have challenges, but the defense was 58th. And I think if the offense can get going with a good quarterback play, now the defense is going to see some support. You mentioned they've got dogs on that side that can play. I mean, Chandler Rivers, he's good. Caleb Weaver, expecting him to step up. Linebackers got good players. I think this is a team that's really going to surprise people this year. I'm bought in. I think I've seen a couple of others that are feeling the hype too, but I don't know. Malik Murphy's gone. You got a quarterback that I feel like you can really lean on here, and then you've got 4 returning offensive linemen. I like what this team's got. Trev, what do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think Duke has a potential to do well. However, I will say that they do have a kind of a rough schedule, in my opinion. Meaning that the second game of the season, they have Illinois coming to town, and me and Brendan really just got done kind of talking about them not too long ago, where I know Brendan's a little bit more high on them than I am, but I think they are going to be very difficult for Duke Blue Devils. But if they can come out with the win there, I think that sets their season up very well going forward. Because they have Tulane, which you definitely don't want to sleep on Tulane in New Orleans. because they could get you. But then NC State, Georgia Tech down the road, Georgia Tech and Clemson back to back, not back to back weeks, but you have a week off in between. But still, I would, if I was a fan of the Duke Blue Devils, I would not be a fan of where the bye weeks are currently on their schedule. I just think that those are long stretches. And then you have a week off, a game with Georgia Tech, and then a week off, and then you go into Clemson at Memorial Stadium. And I like Duke, but I just don't like them enough where I think they're going to contend to be a part of the ACC championship.
Just practically look at the way the schedule sets up too. Like, there is a 4-week period where they are in New Orleans, at home in North Carolina, in Syracuse, and then in California.
Yeah,
that is a brutal 4-week stretch there.
And I would say that most pundits around the country, I don't hear them actually talking about the travel these teams have to do like they should. I feel like no one takes into the account of the amount of travel some of these teams that have added California teams to mainly an East Coast conference, what kind of toll that takes on a team and the traveling and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a very underrated thing to look at, because I think nowadays we're just seeing a lot of the bigger networks kind of focus on the same things over and over, and we're not looking enough at like, what does the travel look like? And also just because these conferences are so big, clunky, and uneven, like you just kind of get like a lot of these bye week disparities as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was going to kind of say, I can see the bye week thing being a two-way, it could be good, it could be bad, depending after you get that long stretch of going out to California, at the end there, the first stretch of games, but then you kind of get a break and to prep for a good Georgia Tech team. And then you kind of see what happened. You get a little break, and then you go to Clemson. I could see those being, good for extra weeks to prep for the best teams in the conference. But I agree, it can also throw you off if you're taking so many breaks in between games. You kind of get out of that groove that you're in. So I could see it going both ways. But then, after Clemson, it really, if things are going well and maybe you've only lost one in that first slate, or whatever. There's room here for this team to have a really nice season. You could see another 9-10 win season if things go perfect. And Mensa's the guy that everybody thinks he is. But even 9-3, I think is probably the most likely for him.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have some fun here. Let's talk about North Carolina.
I thought you were gonna say Florida State. I was like, yeah, let's go.
I know. I was thinking about which one, because I knew either one of them would bring a giant grin to your face, Trevor. Let's lay into North Carolina first. Let's see. What do you guys think?
So, Trevor.
Well, North Carolina is an interesting one for me, because as I actually looked into them, I did not look into them into like as a hatred thing, because whatever. But just looking at their talent pool and what they have, plus with their to also factoring in their schedule and everything else, I'm not as confident in them being able to come out of the ACC with a winning record. I think they're going to have a hard time with TCU right out the gate at prime time on September 1st on Monday night. I think TCU is going to give them a hard time in Chapel Hill. They do have to play Clemson. They do have to play Duke and NC State, which I think them having those two teams back to back is rough. But I think that they should be okay. I mean, they have a lot of games on the East Coast. I think I only saw, one game that they have to go out to California, and that's to play Cal, which I think is actually an underrated team this year in the ACC. I still think that. Even though they did me dirty last year, I think that Cal Bears will eventually, they're one of these days they're going to prove me right that they're going to do something positive. But no, NC State, okay, they'll have a winning record. I just think that it'll be more like a seven wins, maybe 8 wins. But I think that they're going to have a hard time with Duke, NC State, Clemson, TCU. I think those 4 games potentially are losses. Outside of that, though, hey, I mean, that's a pretty good first season for Belichick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's so much off-season noise with this program, with the Belichick thing coming in initially and then the girlfriend saga and all that other crap. Like it was like what is happening right now?
I heard each game that he was going to let her call one offensive play each.
I think she's going to force.
I'm kidding.
No,
I'm so kidding.
Her way in, buddy. But no, I mean, besides the jest from the off-season stuff, they made good moves in the portal. I mean, there's a lot to like here. I think Gio Lopez is an absolute gamer. I expect him probably being it, right? It's going to be him as a quarterback. I mean, Max Johnson's still there, but I mean, I don't know. I think Gio really showed out last season, and you kind of play the hot hand, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I agree though, Trev. It's hard to buy in until you see it. The schedule, and that first game is going to say a lot about both of those teams. I'm really excited to watch that one, man. I'm pumped for that game.
Yeah. And what I would say about North Carolina is that I'm more curious to see down the road if Belichick actually hangs around, what can he build and what kind of recruiting talent can he bring in? Yeah. That will be a curious thing for me because if there's a bunch of players that maybe are a 4-star that's behind some elite talent at wide receiver, for example, and they're looking for a place to land, I mean, what better place to land than Bill Belichick to kind of coach you up on what the NFL is looking for and things like that if you have like 1-2 years eligibility left. I mean, I think that's a possibility that they could hit the portal hard and not have to spend a lot of money, and really they'll sell the fact that they can get these players to the NFL, and that's where they'll make their money.
Pretty well with him.
And they are already. They I think I believe 2026 is looking good for them. I'd have to double check on the recruiting trail, but last I checked, I think they were doing really well.
Yeah, it's just this offseason just started with there was just so much nonsense. And it was like
a lot of noise.
Is this even like a Belichick team? And then kind of we got around that spring portal, they got Gio Lopez in, and that's kind of when we started to see things kind of settle down a little bit. We kind of saw the noise stop a little bit, and really all now we're hearing about them is when they get another good 2026 recruit. So it's starting to look more and more like it's going to be a Bill Belichick team, but I'm very curious to see if the distractions from earlier in the offseason impact them this year.
Yeah, I feel like he'll be able to quiet it.
Yeah.
I think he will.
Absolutely. Now I think let's hit Florida State because I knew you've been waiting.
He's been like this skin crawling.
Of course I am. I have things pulled up, man. I'm ready.
Oh God, you bringing out receipts or what?
No. Well, I mean, I don't even need to. Castellanos did that for me. Like for real, he did it for me. I didn't even need to do nothing. The minute he transferred out of BC and went to Florida State, it was just like, I guess they just gave him carte blanche to talk. Because I haven't heard a word from this guy in 3 seasons at BC, and all of a sudden he goes to Florida State, and the first words out of his mouth was, "We're going to beat Alabama." I was like, who the hell are you, dude? Like, what in what world do you think after a 2 and whatever season you're going to walk into you're going to let Alabama come into Doak Campbell and just dog walk you guys all the way out of your own stadium? Because I really do think that's going to happen. I'm serious. I think that it's going to be a bad situation for Florida State that first week. Then they'll have a couple weeks where they can Bama's going to probably just absolutely obliterate them, and I'm going to set my phone to record that whole game, and I'm going to put up little receipts that live episode, I'm gonna have little videos just like playing in the background every time someone wants to try and talk about Florida State being something special this year.
That comments a lot on those, buddy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
friend in air quotes, because I'll tell you what.
Lord have mercy. Sorry, carry on, buddy.
But really, okay, so outside of the Alabama game, they have Virginia, Miami, and Pitt back to back, like right out the gate, or not right out the gate, but first 3 games of your ACC schedule. Then you turn around with, and this is an underrated team that I think may cause a lot of people some problems, Wake Forest, then Clemson. Right afterwards, you go into Memorial Stadium, where I think Wake Forest definitely could cause some problems, considering Clemson's the next week. Then Virginia Tech, NC State, and Florida all ending that whole last stretch of your season could potentially be 0-5. Right there, that last week of the season, or last five weeks of the season.
It's crazy even saying that about Florida State, but just after last year, you're like, I mean, could it?
Look, I mean, and I know, Justin, you may not agree with me, but I don't think Castellanos is the answer at Florida State. The way they play football, I just don't think that he is going to be as good as advertised. But we'll see on how they utilize him and his legs.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien got frustrated with him and benched him at Boston College.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what the Gus bus does with him, man. That's the hope, I guess. You know, new coordinators. You did bring in Tony White, which I think is a good hire. So
it was a good hire.
Squared away. Still had a solid.
Here comes Brendan with the voice of reason.
Well, notice he started with the defense.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. You got to paint the picture. All right, so you got a good defensive coordinator. You got some guys. You got a good portal class. Last time I feel like they again had a really strong, big like numbered portal class, but a lot of it was guys just weren't either buying in or they weren't meshing well. Quarterback play, obviously, the offensive line play was horrible. Didn't give DJU any time, even though DJU the year before at Oregon State did fine. It wasn't like a world beater season, but it wasn't as bad as what happened at Florida State. So you're like, okay, what's going on coaching staff wise? So that's why I think there's room for hope for them. But the defense, they've got guys there. They've got people that look good on the front end. Running backs got options. Sawchuck, I think, is going to be good. There's room here for this team to really impress and surprise people. But we just got to see it. We got to see Castellanos get to a self that was closer to 2023, minus the turnovers. He's got to square that problem. But we'll see. He's talking it. He's trying to get the team amped up. I get what he's trying to do, but sometimes a wise man keeps his mouth shut.
Like, okay, so I get what he was trying to do, yeah, but did you really have to pick Alabama?
I know what you're saying, but did you?
Did you really have to go after Bama?
Bear. Don't poke the bear.
Like, go after Wake Forest or somebody. Like, when we play Wake Forest, we're going to beat them.
Okay, yeah, we got it.
All right, I believe you. Castellanos, yeah. But no, honestly, this is just a thought that popped into my head. What does he have to do to keep his job this season? Yeah.
I mean, you got.
Does it have to be bowl game or a bowl game? Otherwise, you done, son.
I think a bowl game. I think a bowl game shows at least you're getting the train back on the tracks a little bit.
I agree. Bowl game or bust.
I would agree. 6 wins. Got to get to 6 wins at least.
I mean, if you lose to Bama, Miami, Clemson, Florida, you lose to every big team, and then you drop one to maybe, if you dropped to Wake Forest on that trap game before, because we previewed that. Yeah. I think there's room for improvement for them as well. Or you drop to Virginia Tech. God, man, I mean, their fans would be. I still think would be rabid. They're already frustrated online, so it's like, I mean, I don't know what else they have to handle.
It's like it's honestly okay. So real talk, like talking about this team is like shooting fish in the barrel. It's too easy. It's too easy to trigger them.
I feel bad. I know you don't.
I don't. You know, as a Michigan fan, do you want to know how many years I got it?
know.
Really, I got it. Come on, dude. You remember? Nobody felt bad for Michigan when they were sucking.
It was just
Nobody.
the way they got left out of that champ or the playoffs, and then I just
do feel bad about that part because they shouldn't have been left out.
Yeah.
That part, I 100% agree. They should not have been left out of the playoff. But folks, we're way past that now. Way past that. We're just trying to get back to a bowl game here, folks.
Do you think like that had an impact in the locker room? Like, do you think that impacted their buy-in getting left out like that?
We talked about that a lot.
100%.
Maybe is there a culture problem with Florida State? And
yeah, we suggested that. When did we suggest that? In the offseason after they didn't get
look, when it happened, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I know we're off base, but it's just like, hey, this team they got screwed is how most of us felt, from playing in the playoffs, and then they were like boycotting the bowl game, and then they get dog walked by Georgia, and then Georgia can flaunt that all day long, and then you're in your mind as Florida State fans and coaches, you're trying to cope of like, no, that doesn't count. It's a meaningless bowl game. No, buddy, that's still on the record. It still freaking counts.
Yeah.
And then you go in.
Yeah, you're not 14-0. You're 14-1.
Production, you get so many guys gone, and then you try to replace with the portal, and then people are showing up late to practice. Reports are saying that, the coach is just trying to keep it together. I don't know, man. I don't think it's a long-term problem, but I think going into what happened, what we saw last year, it definitely played a role. But outside of that, I think there's hope for this season. How much, I don't know. Bowl game, you got to do it.
Yeah.
What I will be paying attention to with Florida State is how their players react to adversity. Because up to this point, Florida State players have not reacted well to any sort of adversity.
Yeah.
At all.
Last year was bad.
At all. I mean, the whole team darn near quit on that season last season. And it showed by their exit, the transfer portal, and how many players exited that transferred in that same year at the beginning of the year. So we're going to see this next batch of transfers that they got at Florida State, which I really hope they get back to actually doing top-tier recruiting, more so than top-tier transfer portal. Which I think that's just Norvell reacting to the pressure and trying to get better talent at certain positions. But I think he's fired regardless if they don't contend for the ACC championship. I think they're going to move to a different direction.
Yeah, it's going to be really fascinating just because they're going to get dog walked by Alabama in front of everyone. There's not really even any other games going on at that time, so it's going to be really public. But then you have East Texas A&M and Kent State and Virginia to follow that up. So that's where you got to pull your season back together and then be respectable at least against Miami. That's where their season really starts to take shape.
Yep. I mean, as I would imagine that Pitt will be in full stride as far as what their team looks like by the time they go to Doak Campbell on October 11th too.
Yeah.
So that could be a potential problem as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll look at another team in this tier now. Virginia Tech, another team that I think we all collectively really had high expectations on last year. And they fell flat. Now, it wasn't as flat as it kind of felt like because, again, the difference between what the expectations were and where they ended up were 4 one-score losses. But they just could not close out games.
No, they couldn't. I'm trying to get to 2024 to remind myself of all the games.
I think we all expected more from, quarterback position, just everything, drones and he can only do so much, around what's going on with him. But I mean, the overtime loss to Syracuse, the overtime loss early to Vandy. I mean, it's like when I look at this, it's like I'm looking at Nebraska's schedule and just like it's so many one score losses. Like you just can't get over the dang hump. And I know a lot of fans are getting ready. They're mentally ready to move on from the coaching staff. Like they're tired of this team not being.
Someone threw out John Gruden to Virginia Tech today.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. No, God,
fire up the groomers, old boy.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine?
Well, what I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to get one of these old D coordinators that have been around the block for millennia, and make them the head coach. Like, I don't know. I'd love to see it. Rob Ryan for Big Tech head coach. Let's do it.
Oh.
Yes, I want to see the long hair man do it.
With Metallica and everything.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely. It would be perfect. He's a defensive analyst or whatever the hell he is. I forget what he is, but he's already that. Like, he gets a year under his belt to kind of get the feel for it and then just bring him right into head coach.
Oh my goodness!
Boom.
No.
I want to see it. But no, Virginia Tech. Real talk though. I mean, I really would like to see you do well this season. And in all honesty, when Virginia Tech is really at the top, like being at the top echelon of ACC, it's great for college football because generally speaking, Virginia Tech's one of those programs that a lot of people want to root for. Even if you aren't a fan of any team in particular in ACC, outside looking in, like Virginia Tech's one of those teams that people will root for.
I got nothing but love for this team. I love the stadium. I love the atmosphere, the location, like everything about it. So if they can get things rolling, I like Drones too at quarterback. There's talent here. There's talent to be found and to be recruited all over the Virginia and the DMV area. You can reach all over the East Coast. So,
and once again though, they have a rough schedule this season.
Yeah, it's been.
In my opinion, they have a rough schedule. They start out with South Carolina and Vandy.
Yeah,
1-2 punch right there. Vandy, who will be a very, very good team, I think. South Carolina is going to be very man, that's a dangerous team. I just want to say it right now. South Carolina is dangerous. And then you got a couple breaks with Old Dominion and Wofford, and then you go right into it again. You
can't even overlook Old Dominion. Yeah, Old Dominion is pretty solid too.
Look, you can't. Old Dominion looks at that as a rivalry game, so I'm just going to say that right there. Like, I used to work with a couple Old Dominion grads, and I'll tell you what, they look forward to any Virginia game, Virginia or Virginia Tech, and they look forward to them both. But then, I mean, they play Georgia Tech, they play Louisville, they play Florida State, they play Miami. I mean, good God. And NC State, they should be good this year. They're getting overlooked like nobody's business, but sorry, Virginia Tech. I don't know if this year's your year.
Yeah,
this would be a good year for the building block, but I think Fry is going to get his butt fired after this season.
Man, yeah, I'm looking at that first start. If you go 0-2 out the gate, I mean,
if he goes 0-2 out of the gate, he might as well he lit the match. He lit the wick. And it's just burning. It's a slow burn all the way to the butt. It's going to launch him right out of his headman seat.
Justin, what do you feel about him? I just don't know.
Man, yeah, they can't start 0-2. Like, you have Vanderbilt coming to Blacksburg. That's a tough ask, but you've got to find a way to make that one happen. You've got to win that game.
Absolutely, I would agree completely.
And, like, if you can win that one, you can get to a 3-1 start. Mm-hmm. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe NC State doesn't continue their trend of having 9-win seasons out of nowhere. And then you get Wake Forest. Like, you could start 5-1. And you could see the momentum kind of build from there. You get Cal down the line. Cal hasn't been to Blacksburg. Louisville hasn't been to Blacksburg. Like, you can start to see the momentum build. And maybe they have a solid season. But overall, like, it feels like this team is kind of trending towards they just need a winning season at this point. And it's going to be tough to even reach that.
Yeah.
What do you think makes Fry safe, though, at this point? I'm wondering that myself, honestly, right now.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
Because I think I want to say that he would have to have, I want to see 7 wins out of him.
Yeah, I mean,
out of this team for him to keep his job.
Yeah, after last year.
Again, yeah, I think it got to be that. And assuming he goes 0-2, he like,
yeah, man,
That makes it tougher.
I'd say bowl game for sure. He's got to even keep a semblance of safety. It's got to be bowl game. But I mean, I think that's doable, especially like Justin said. If you start out the game, you only drop the one to Vandy, and then you're going into Georgia Tech with only one loss. Okay, you're going to be all right.
The one thing is we saw kind of a lot of patience with ACC coaches the last couple of years. Like, we didn't really see them make a lot of big moves, especially on the basketball side where they're really struggling. Like, that's even a cheaper option to make a change there, and they didn't really do it. So it feels like maybe a winning record would keep him there, but it really is just all up in the air. It honestly depends on finances too.
Very true.
Yeah.
I was curious to see how the fan base reacts. And I feel like they've been pretty patient, and they're hungry for wins and being in the ACC title conversation again. So if they get fed up enough, maybe they'll cause some change. We've seen it with Tennessee. We've seen it happen at Michigan before. So I mean, if the fan base rises up, I mean you'll maybe see some action. So.
Yeah, you almost need like your fans to be more on the lunatic fringe. Like maybe we don't see enough of that in the ACC, and that's why we kind of start to see the teams struggling in bowl games and stuff.
Yeah, you need your fan base to start acting like it's the purge about your coaching staff, and then you're good.
Oh my God.
Just act like absolute lunatics on the internet. It'll be okay.
Absolute lunatics.
Crashing out everywhere.
Virginia Tech fans, if you guys don't get 6 wins, just act like any SEC team if they don't win enough games. That's basically the energy you need to put towards the Virginia Tech leadership.
Now, I guess mentioning fan bases that went crazy over the internet, but for a different reason. The Cal Golden Bears.
The Calgorithm.
I put him in this the Calgorithm. I put him in this category because the schedule actually kind of sets them up where they have a lot of 50-50 games.
Yes, I would agree with that. Cal is one of my teams that I've been kind of high on. And like I said it early on, they let me down last year. And I was very disappointed. I really, in my heart of hearts, I thought that they could have had they had an opportunity, I should say, that they could have had a phenomenal year last year, and it just did not. It just didn't come through for whatever reason. And I can probably come up with a few.
The 4-game stretch of 1-score losses where they lost all of the games the exact same way.
Yep. Good news with this schedule, they don't have Clemson, so that's nice that you avoid that. I think that a few of these games, Oregon State's going to be a tricky one out in Oregon, I think. Corvallis is a fun place to play unless you're the opponent. But and then Minnesota. So Minnesota's a tricky one for me because when I looked at this game, I'm like, if you win this game, you set yourself up for a different. Honestly, if you go 3-0 in your first 3 games with going into Oregon State, and then Texas Southern should be a win. God help you if that's not a win. And then Minnesota, if you can win that game, which me and Brendan both think Minnesota Gophers are going to be improved this year. And then San Diego State, that's a tricky game. You got to be careful with them. Man, guys, I think that this team could go 8 wins. There's a potential for these guys to go 8 wins. And I'm sorry, Virginia Tech fans, like you might be in their crosshairs, like honestly. Like I just like Cal's team a little bit more. Like there's nothing specifically that I like great about them, but I loved them last year, and they did not lose a ton. They did lose a few players that I was sad to nothing really came to fruition last year. Like I had hoped, but I think that they could do a 7-win season, and I think that would be a successful season for Cal. A 7-win season, I think, would be a successful season.
With Cal, last year there's so much potential. Mendoza's a good quarterback. Yeah, Jay Knott, like all these things. Yeah, the power of the Calgorithm behind you. What they were doing online was hilarious. The whole woke memes and all. It was glorious. But then it just fell apart, and then you get Jay Knott transfers, and everybody's like just stung by that. And then he goes off and he talks trash about the program, saying, when he gets to Oklahoma, he's like, it feels good to be in a place where, they care about football like this. And I don't know if he's talking about, I don't know if he's necessarily talking about the teammates, like if they're bought in, or maybe just the administration. But I mean, that still hurts to hear from your star running back that you fell in love with. So that's just something, to me that's going to ring in some ears there. They hear that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, talking about that though, I think that all the California schools not named USC, they're more concerned with academics than they are about sports. Yeah. Generally speaking, Cal and Stanford, like they like if you go back and you listen to some of the Harbaugh interviews about his time at Stanford, it was like pulling teeth to get them to commit to like really putting in some effort on the football side of things. And I think that's just what Cal is running into. Hopefully they're starting to change their ways a little bit, because if they don't, they're just going to it's going to go bad, go even more south than what it is.
Yeah, they'll just continue to kind of flounder the way they have been. Really, I think Ott was there for a lot of it too. Like he kind of dealt with all of that during, just after the post-COVID era, just like a lot of, Cal kept putting football second compared to everything else. And it was very strange to see, like, how they managed to land Ott during that time is still a mystery to me. How they got him over USC, literally a mystery to me. But yeah, like it was tough to lose him, especially when they lost him. They lost him in the spring, and then lost the other top 5 running backs in their depth chart. You brought in you brought in Brian Harsin, and then out went the whole offense. So that was kind of the hard part with Cal. I mean, man, I liked them heading into the spring. Like, heading into the spring, it felt like they had real momentum, and then they kind of lost a few guys in that spring portal. And now it's kind of like they have a good schedule, but is this offense going to come together in time? You might be even starting a true freshman. Yeah. We don't know what Devin Brown is, because the guy has like 2 starts and 3 snaps because he got hurt in both starts. So it's really, really going to be interesting to see what Cal does. And I mean, for the most part, I know there's some optimism with their fan base. They hope that the offensive line is going to be bigger and better this year, because one of the problems with why they couldn't reach Trevor's goals last year is because they couldn't run the ball. So they couldn't run the ball to close out games, and they blew a lot of leads. And obviously the Miami game was the worst example of that, where they could not run the ball at all, and Miami came back and won that one. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they fill it out this season. And you like you mentioned, 4 new offensive linemen, young quarterback. I'm assuming he'll start. Yeah, I know Devin Brown, but again, he's been hurt so many times. How do you trust that? Especially on the outside looking in. Now maybe he's doing fine right now. I don't know, but from the outside looking in, how do you put stock into that? And then you just hoping that 5-star quarterback that you stole away from Oregon, you hope he steps up and he's the guy. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that first game at 10:30 at night in Corvallis to really see where Cal is, because honestly, I think that is a phenomenal barometer on where the program is currently.
I like what the Beavers are bringing to the table this year.
Yeah, Beavers are chomping. They're ready to go.
Saw some wood, boys. By the way, Beavers, they play the Golden Gophers. A lot of rodents early in the schedule here.
A lot of rodents.
A lot of rodents after dark.
Yeah, a lot of rodents after dark. Yes,
that needs to be a hashtag, buddy, when they come up.
Rodents after dark.
You heard it here first.
Rodents after dark.
Sports podcast. Oh my god.
I don't know if it's because it's after dark here or what, but man, that one just popped to mind. We're gonna see a lot of Calgorism after dark here though, because they have a lot of late night games. It's gonna be fun to watch. This is a long tier, guys, but we are on to our next one, which I just put the Chaos team. That's the show, guys. let them know where they can find you and any fun upcoming projects you got going on.
Yeah, so obviously you can find us at YouTube at Gridiron Uncensored, Facebook Gridiron Uncensored, and then on Twitter at Kicking It with the Grid. Right? That's the tag, right? Kicking It with the Grid. Yeah. And then also this season, once the season gets going, every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, we'll be live doing our live reaction shows on YouTube, Twitter, and wherever else, and Facebook Live as well.
Yeah, I mean, no.
Did I miss anything, Brendan?
You know, we always like to talk football, and really very active on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. We'd love to have you.
Very awesome. Great having you guys on the show. Thanks for joining us. And of course, don't forget about us as well. We are Up Dog Sports Talk. Obviously, if you're finding the show for the first time, you can find us on X as well. We are also very active on there, but we're also, here on YouTube and everywhere else that you get your podcast. I know my colleague Matt usually tries to list out all the places and he forgets half of them. I'm not even going to try. We're going to sign off there. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a good week.